You know that moment when you finally decide, okay, I'm gonna start selling my handmade creations, and then you immediately realize, all right, there are a million things that I should buy or have. I know that when I first started my handmade business, I thought I needed everything, all the fancy packaging and business cards and a full website and the perfect logo, all of it. But in all honesty, most of that didn't matter in the beginning. What I really needed were just a couple of tools that helped me stay organized, consistent, and actually get things done. So if you've been wanting to start your handmade business, but you're not really sure what's actually essential, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down 5 tools that will make your life a lot easier, save you money, and help you start strong. So go ahead and grab a drink, settle in, and let's chat about what you actually need to get started. I know when I think back to what helped me actually go from hobby crafter to running a small business, it wasn't big investments. I didn't really have the budget at all to invest in anything either, and didn't even know what that really meant at the time. It was actually just the simple things that helped me stay focused on my journey and continue to grow and learn over time. So let's start with the first thing that you absolutely need, and it is a workspace setup. And I don't mean a full studio or some picture perfect craft room. You just really need a space that feels yours and is somewhere that you can focus, make a mess, and know that when you sit down in that space, it's time to create. I know that when I first started, I worked wherever I could. The bed, the couch, the floor in my small living room, and basically anywhere that had good lighting and a little bit of space. But once I really carved out a tiny corner in my space for specifically making, everything changed. I put a small desk and a bookshelf in that corner, and I knew that every time I was in that space, I would switch my mindset into business mode and being more business oriented. So your space doesn't have to be fancy at all. It could just be a little desk, a folding table, or even just a little rolling cart where you keep all of your supplies together. The key here is that it just really helps you get into the creative flow without spending half of your time searching for scissors or that one crochet hook that disappeared again. And so if you're just setting up your small handmade business, it's important to start by making a space that inspires you to create. It could even just be a small corner in your bedroom or living room space, and then you can build it up later. But having that consistent spot really just helps set the tone for everything else. All right, so the next thing that will make your life so much easier when you're just getting started with your small business is having a simple way to track your orders and inventory. When you first start selling, it's really easy to just keep everything in your head, what you've made, what's sold, and what you need to restock materials wise. But the moment that you first start getting a few orders or start making more than just one type of product, it's really easy to just lose track of everything. I know when I first started, I didn't track anything. I'd just be halfway through an order and then realized I ran out of yarn, and I didn't even remember what specific color I used for that specific piece, and that wasn't ideal at all. But even a simple Google Sheet or notebook really makes all the difference with this. You can just write down what you made, what's sold, and what materials you use to create your pieces. It can just be a super simple system. It's just important to stay consistent with it. It's really just important to start building good habits from the beginning, and you can even just jot it down in a journal or spreadsheets. This way you can save a lot of time, and instead of figuring out what you have or what's missing, you can actually just spend more time crafting and creating. Okay, so this next one is really important, and it is to have good photos of your work. Especially if you're selling your work mostly online, you could have the most beautiful handmade piece in the world, but if the photo is dark or cluttered, then people will just scroll right on past it. You don't even need a fancy camera or studio setup to make your work look amazing either. You just need a camera, and to start, it can even be your phone, and then some natural light and a clean background. I know that when I first started using a simple white wall as a backdrop and took photos near a window, my photos instantly looked more professional, and I started getting engagement right away online. If you want to go a step further, you can even grab a small tripod or use portrait mode on your phone and get those crisp details in that photo. And props are also fine to have, but you want to keep them at a minimum so that your work is the focus of the photo. Also, it's good to not be afraid of experimenting a bit with your photos. You can try taking them at different times of the day or at different angles or even in outdoor lighting outside, and this can really make a difference for your photos. And just keep experimenting until you find your own photo style as you go along. All right, so this next one might not be the most glamorous part of running a handmade business, but it's so important to have some kind of system to track your finances. And I'm not talking about some kind of complicated accounting software, but I just mean something to keep track of what's coming in and what's going out, and what materials are actually costing you. I know when I first started selling my work, I didn't keep separate track of my personal and business money at all. Everything was just in one account, and it got really confusing really fast. I had no idea what was profit and what was just me going out and buying more supplies because I was just really excited to be making money from selling my creations. But now I always tell people that it's really important to just start small but stay organized. Even just having a separate bank account or debit account for your handmade business makes a huge difference. It helps you see what's actually happening with your money, and it'll save you so much stress when it comes to tax time. And it'll also help you improve your mindset around your business and actually treating it as a business instead of a hobby. And you can just start with a basic spreadsheet, or if you prefer an app, something like Xero or QuickBooks Self-Employed works great as well. But honestly, even just writing things down on paper works, especially when you're just getting started. It's just good to make a habit of tracking every sale, every supply run, and every little thing. And the next thing that's also really important is having a place to actually sell your work. Now, this doesn't mean jumping straight away into building a full online store or spending hours figuring out Etsy SEO. You can absolutely start small, so even with just a simple Instagram page or TikTok account, or even just having a booth at local markets. I know when I first started, I didn't even have a shop yet. I just posted what I was making, shared behind the scenes stuff of my progress and my process of making my pieces. And I built my first community of people who really cared about what I made over on Instagram. And you don't even need everything figured out to just start sharing your pieces. You can just experiment, you can post progress photos, you can chat in stories, and overall just do what feels most natural to you. And the more that you show up and share your journey, your audience will grow over time. And then once you're ready, you can branch out into having an Etsy or eBay or even your own website. Just begin capturing your work and your progress and building up your community around your art with your ideal people where you would like to connect with them. So those are the 5 basic tools that I think every maker needs to get started with their small business. A workspace that inspires you, a way of tracking your orders and inventory, a simple photography setup, a system for tracking your finances, and somewhere to share and eventually sell your work. And the key is just to start somewhere. Just having these basics in place will help you stay organized and consistent and ready to grow as you go along. Well, if you found this video helpful, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Drop a comment and tell me what you're making and which of these tools you're excited to start using. And I read every single comment and love seeing what you're working on. And if you're curious and having a one-on-one coaching session with me, I will be launching those really soon. So make sure that you click that link in the description box below if you're curious about that. And also make sure that you are subscribed and click the bell if you want to be notified of future videos in this series. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me in the next one.